So let's talk about what happens when a company in India is right on the edge of collapse. It's this incredibly high-stakes moment where one wrong move isn't just about the business failing, it could actually mean jail time. We're going to break down the serious offenses and the hefty penalties under India's insolvency code.
Okay, let's really get into this. Picture it. A company's in deep financial trouble, and the people in charge are feeling some serious heat. We're going to explore those critical legal red lines that they absolutely cannot cross. Because the law, well, it isn't just there to manage a business failure, right? It's there to protect the trust in the entire economic system.
All right, first up, let's tackle the biggest and maybe most obvious temptation when a business is going under. Trying to make valuable stuff and, the truth, just disappear.
And this goes way beyond just panicking. We're talking about deliberate, calculated actions, from stashing company property somewhere it can't be found to straight-up creating fake entries in the books. It's all designed to mislead everyone, from creditors to the courts.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The law isn't just looking at what happens after a company files for insolvency. Oh no, it's got this 12-month look-back period. So it's scrutinizing anything that happened up to a full year before the process even started. Hiding property, shredding documents, cooking the books, it's all on the table.
And what's the penalty for this? Well, it is not a slap on the wrist. For any of these moves, the law specifies a minimum of 3 years behind bars, and it can go all the way up to 5. That's the starting point.
And it doesn't stop with prison time. On top of that, or sometimes instead of it, comes a massive financial hit. The fines kick off at 1 lakh rupees, but they can soar all the way up to a staggering 1 crore.
Okay, so let's build on that. The next level of offense zeroes in on actions that are a direct betrayal of the very people and businesses the company owes money to. In other words, its creditors.
This one is all about pure, active deception. This is not about being in a tough spot and not being able to pay your bills. This is about deliberately and actively cheating the people who are waiting for their money.
The key word here is intent. These are not honest mistakes. We're talking about things like gifting a piece of company property to a relative just to keep it out of the hands of creditors, or outright lying to those creditors to get them to agree to some plan that only benefits you.
And for pulling stunts like this, for these deliberate acts of fraud, the law comes down, and it comes down hard. You're looking at imprisonment for 1 to 5 years, plus a fine that can, once again, reach up to 1 crore rupees. All right, so we've covered hiding past actions, but what happens when people try to actively sabotage the rescue mission that's designed to save the company?
I love this analogy. Think of the corporate insolvency resolution process, or CIRP, as the financial ER for a company on life support. The offenses we're about to talk about are basically like someone running into that ER and just pulling the plug. And what this shows you, crystal clear, is that transparency is everything. Once that insolvency clock starts ticking, an independent person called a resolution professional steps in. And cooperating with them, it's not optional. It's a legal command. Hiding documents, refusing to hand over the books, that's a serious crime.
Now this is really fascinating. The law actually holds different players in the game to different standards. If a director or officer of the company messes up, they're facing up to 5 years in prison. But if the insolvency professional, the person in charge, deliberately breaks the rules, the penalty is much lighter, topping out at 6 months. The weight of responsibility really falls heaviest on the company's own leaders.
Okay, for our last big category, let's rewind right back to the very beginning of the process. Let's talk about the temptation to be dishonest from the very first step, the application itself. This whole rescue process is like building a house. It has to be built on a solid foundation of truth. This part of the law is all about punishing anyone who tries to build that foundation on sand by providing false info or conveniently forgetting to mention critical facts.
It's really simple, right? Tell the whole truth, period. It doesn't matter if you're a creditor filing the application and you forget to mention there's already dispute over the debt, or if it's the company itself lying about its assets. The law demands total honesty right from the get-go.
So here's the twist. For this initial deception, there's no jail time. But don't think for a second you're getting off easy. Lying on that application can still cost you a fine of up to 1 crore rupees. That is a very big deal.
All right, let's pull all of this together. What's the big picture here? The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code isn't just a rule book for managing failure. It's a tool to aggressively punish the illegal behavior that often comes with it.
Remember this number,
3 to 5 years. That's the typical prison sentence for the really serious stuff we talked about, actively hiding property, faking the company records, or getting in the way of the rescue process.
Then you've got this slightly wider range, 1 to 5 years. This one kicks in for crimes like directly defrauding your creditors or breaking the rules of the final court-approved resolution plan.
And this table just lays it all out, doesn't it? The message from the law could not be clearer. No matter what the specific offense is, from hiding assets to lying on some paperwork, that threat of multi-year prison sentences combined with fines running into crores is always there.
And really, that's what this all boils down to. The whole system is built on one simple but powerful idea. To keep faith in the market, you have to have an honest, fair process when a company fails. And that means you can't let it be manipulated by the very people who might have caused the mess in the first place.
So, it all comes back to that one crucial question, doesn't it? In the chaos of a failing business, where do you draw that line? Well, as we've seen today, in the eyes of the law, that line is bright, it is clear, and stepping over it, well, that comes with a very, very heavy price.